Were you honest when you said I could never leave your bed? Wake me up and let me know you're alive. Will you fall in love again? Is the sense slowly spreading? I've been answering machines all night. Now the doctor's dancing in while the ambulance is saying another boy without a sharper knife. The moment, that's where I kill the conversation. Wrap this up with a knife that loves to peel. How do you know how deep to go before it's real? Take me home. Can I even complicate your breathing? I guess I'm just your average boy with a knife in the back and a grip on the grass. It's cold and I don't wanna be here. I guess I'm never comfortable or situational. Are we losing or beginning to try a new life without you? The moment, that's where I kill the conversation. Wrap this up with a lie that I'm enjoying every minute with myself. She could make hell feel just like home. I'm never leaving her alone. But if your life and lips aren't mine, then I don't know the awkward stranger to my right. I only need one hand to drive when you're with me. You're my getaway. Don't you ever feel alone? And don't you wish you could cut us tonight? Alright, tell me why my little Mona Lisa told a lie. And do you want me? Do you want to let me know that you're okay? A diamond gold ring, customized to cut your circulation, but I couldn't let you go. I never let you go, my dear. So keep talking, 'cause I love to hear your voice again. Hello guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It's the Real Brandazzle, and today, in honor of the 10th anniversary of Pierce the Veil's album A Flair for the Dramatic, their first studio album, I am going to be showing you how to play my favorite song off that album, probably, although it's very difficult to choose, Yeah Boy and Dollface. The version I'm going to be playing is based off of a version that they played at a live acoustic show in Japan, which I managed to figure out the chords for after a lot of annoying slaving away. It's really complicated, but I think it's really cool if you can get it right. So there's a lot of different progressions that keep getting reused. The first one is the verse, and the verse uses two chord progressions, but the main chord you're going to keep returning to is a C sharp minor. This is in standard, by the way. I have a cape on the 2nd fret because I tuned my guitar a full step down for greater range, essentially. So you start with your 2nd finger on the 5th string, 5th fret, your 3rd and 4th fingers on the 3rd and 4th strings, 6th fret, and then 2nd string, 4th fret, your 1st finger. And you can sort of push your 1st finger over a bit to mute the E string, so you get. And then the next chord is a moving bass note from that. So you move your 1st finger from this string 4 to the 1st string, 5th fret, and you can lay it across and mute the E. You sort of bring it across the strings in such a way that you mute both the second and sixth strings, so the A and E rather. So if it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, then you're going to do it on the sort of eighth note upbeat to the second measure. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and then do the same thing with the next two chords, which are a G sharp seventh, which involves again, these two fingers on the middle two strings, your third and fourth fingers on the middle two strings, but this time at the fourth fret, and then your second finger on the first string, fourth fret. Now this is a sort of a weird chord, because if you play the whole thing, because you're going to move your fourth finger up to the fifth fret for that cool change of harmony. But if you let these top two strings ring, it sounds really muddy. So you're going to want to lay your first finger, not like a bar chord, but just lightly across the rest of the strings, so that only those three strings sound. Only the three strings that you've fretted. And then you do the same thing with moving your finger on the upbeat, so. And then repeat that again. And then you're going to go back to that C sharp minor. And then you're going to go to an A sharp minor seventh, which involves these two fingers on the sixth fret, your second finger also on the sixth fret, so similar to like a shifted up version of the G sharp minor seventh from earlier. On this one, you're not going to mute the rest of the strings, what you are going to do is use your middle finger coming over to mute this string right here, the second string. So let these top two strings ring, and then you're going to move back into the A major seventh, but without the 5 here, the finger on the fret here. So just so you don't have to try to stick it back in between your fingers that are all cramped over here, and pull in, making sure you're muting this string with that finger. And you can mute the E as well, but I generally don't. And then you do the first thing again. And then in that little bridge bit, you're going to drop down to a F sharp minor seventh, which is your middle two fingers on the middle two strings yet again. You'll find yourself doing that a lot in this song. And then your first finger on the same fret again. So it's a shifted down version of the G sharp minor seventh instead of a shifted up version, which obviously would lead to the different bass notes for the sevenths. In this one, you actually just mute the second string, but you can let the top two strings ring, and you do that for. This time, there's no weird upbeat rhythm type things. You're just going to play it for 2 measures, 8 beats. And then you move your first finger down 1, and that creates an F major seventh. And then you're going to take it off completely, which leaves you with an E suspended fourth. Then a single strum, B 11th, which is your third finger on the fourth string, second fret, first finger on the third string, first fret, and second finger on the second string, second fret. So this whole section is a little bit quieter, less powerful strumming than the verse section, so you can have a nice big contrast when you leap back into the chorus and have it be a lot of volume. You give it 8 measures of time after this drum, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and I usually slap it quiet for the second measure, so you get this nice little transition period. So it's a and so you can get to breathe. You go to the back of the C sharp minor for 2 measures, but this time you're just going to do a single strum in the first measure. So that's where and then you're going to move to an A major chord, barred at the 5th fret. So and you do that, and you do the shift up on the 8th note. You shift up on the 8th note upbeat again. So and then you do the chord progression from the verse that you only do once. So fall before it's real. And then you do four measures of just this chord, because there's this little section where it's not really doing much of anything. There's a little solo lead-in bit that's basically impossible to do, just fingering this, or at least not good for acoustic. So deep to go before it's real. You just do some funky rhythm, whatever stuff in there. Take me home, and then you can mute for the measure leading up to the 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Take me, and then you can slap it down, mute it, so then you go, take me home, and then you launch into the chorus progression again. But there's actually some weird rhythmic bits here. So the strumming pattern at the beginning was sort of different. I don't know if you heard, but the strumming pattern shifts here, very free, just doing it whatever. But when it goes to this, you're going to want to 1, 2, and 3, and sort of splitting into triplets, but offset 1. I know it always looks like I'm moving my hand constantly up and down, but that's because that's basically just for maintaining of rhythm. A lot of the time it's not actually strumming, so you actually have to listen to what it's sounding like. Complicate your breathing, I guess I'm just your average boy. Then there's a cool dun 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 with the electric guitar in the actual song, which I do with 3 powerful up strums. So the nut, and then you'll notice the vocals are really weirdly offset in the rhythm. I'm gonna nod the beat here so that you know what the beat actually is. The knife in the back and the grip on the grass, it's cold and I don't wanna be here. So with the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just on the first and third beats of each measure, but because the vocals are so weirdly offset, it sounds really cool. And that's part of what I like about Pierce the Veil, is they always syncopate their vocals, and really probably part of the traditional music influence showing up, because it always shows up in most of their songs at one point or another, like the traditional Mexican influence, which is cool. And then I do single strum. Grip on the grass, it's cold and I don't want. And then you mute for wanna be here. And then single strums. I guess I'm never comfortable or situational. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and that's the strumming pattern for this bit. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. That's that same bridge progression again. To try a new life without you, and that's where the vocal that little bit of extra is where the vocals sort of echo and trail off a little bit. The moment, that's where I kill the conversation. Launch into the chorus progression again. Lie that I'm enjoying every minute with myself. Then there's a really cool effect where here at this point where they sort of jump into something else. There's a really cool guitar effect, and I think I've replicated it. So you go single strum. She could make hell, and I figure out that this, which is on the 9th, which is a power chord with your which is a movable power chord on the second, third, fourth strings with your first finger on the 7th fret and your other 2 fingers on the 9th fret. If you sit that power chord there, it creates just an E power chord, which is really cool. I really like the effect it gives. So she can make hell, especially because of how like big and blasting and bombastic it is. It's really cool if you just kind of mute it so that it's like really big and blasting and suddenly stops. It's just really fun contrast, and that sort of. And all this stuff is the kind of stuff that Pierce the Veil would do. Like all this wild contrast, crazy rhythmic stuff. This is why I love them. Like as a musician, I really, really love what Pierce the Veil does with their music. It's just so amazingly complex in a way that I wouldn't say you don't often see, but that's easy to not do if you're writing music with a band. It's easy to just make it simple, but Pierce the Veil take a lot of stuff to a whole nother level musically. They're almost like composers. It's really amazing. Probably because of the way they incorporate traditional music, which it tends to be surprisingly complex, or at least different from traditional Western music. Anyway, tangents. And then you launch into your A major again. And you do that shifting bass note like the C sharp minor, A sharp minor 7th, the C sharp minor, A sharp minor 7th, A major 7th. And also another thing that's cool is the repeated shifts from a minor to a major thing just by one note. Crazy. And then we have something completely new. Here's where you start using a lot of the movable power chord shapes that this is just a series of a group of things that I really, really enjoy because of how often they show up and how easy and how cool they are. Like just this power chord, like that's essentially a power chord, but you can't fret this. It's because it's already at 0. But if you move that shape up, that's an A sus2 or B sus4. Then move it even farther up, it's a C sharp minor 7th or C sharp minor if you put another finger on there. And then there's obviously this, which is the E power chord. There's just so much cool stuff you can do with that. And here's where and I see in a lot of songs, here's where Pierce the Veil use it to great effect. But if you're like really, that's sort of a slightly complex strum. In this song, there's a lot of use of just muting the sound when you want to create a period of silence. It makes a lot of use of muting the sound, which is cool. Lips on mine, and then moved it so B sus4 to G sharp minor 7th. I don't know and then C sharp minor to B sus4 to A sus4. B sus4 to A sus2 actually. Sorry, E sus4. No, the awkward stranger to my right. Construm. And then you do the same strum thing you did for for lightning lips, and then you turn that E suspended fourth into an F sharp minor 7th. So I only need one hand to try, and you'll notice that it makes use of this bit makes use of both sliding shapes that we've learned here. This seventh shape. So you're going to need one hand to draw. Whenever I go into a really complicated strum like that, it's basically just do whatever you think sounds kind of good. I basically just figured out the really weird strums by just kind of noodling around with the song and figuring out what about sounded good with what they play. So it's really a very approximate thing, funnily enough. But it's good. You try. Then probably the most difficult thing in the entire song. This is the bit I had to practice the most. So 1, 2. I'll do it in slow motion here so you can see what's going on. and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. It's really, really difficult to get that shift that quickly, like exceedingly hard. And you really the best thing for it is, well, this is the best way to practice anything, but the best thing for it is to it's even hard for me, like it's even hard to do it slow, but like if you can get that flawless slow and then just work up the speed, you can get it. It's a really fun effect to be able to do. And then you do something similar with, it actually uses a lot of the same notes as the motive, essentially, which is interesting. You go back to your C sharp minor, then you're going to go to a B major. So it's a C minor, C sharp minor 7, C sharp minor, and then you go to a B. And then another shift inside of 2 strums. So from 1, 2, and 3, and so you go to a G sharp. You go. So this is a G sharp minor, and the reason that uses the same notes as the motive, or how that does that, is because the other version is B, obviously, and then C sharp minor with C sharp minor 7, but C sharp minor includes G sharp. So it's using the same notes as the motive, but just constructing different chords around them, which is awesome. From a theory standpoint, that's just so cool. Like, if I was composing something, I wish I could do something like that. That's mad awesome. I sound bad. That sounds weird. Okay. But, and then it moves to A. Like B, C sharp, A. B, G sharp, A. Really cool. That moving power chord thing one more time. With single strums. Don't you ever feel alone. And then you just do that little strum there. It's just filler, essentially. Strum there is just filler. And don't you wish you could. And then the tempo, and then it drops to half time, essentially playing at half the speed it was previous. Because before it was 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's sort of. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 3, 4. Which is it goes to halftime, which is pretty cool. And then from here out, because it mostly to make the rhythm sound cool, it basically just goes to single down strums rather than up and down strumming. So you go for 2 measures, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2. In between the 1 and 2, you have to include that, but you can also add some little fillers bits. And here you can do at Little Mona Lisa, you can do the bass note shift, or you can just Little Mona Lisa, Lisa told a lie. And then you do the chorus, and then you do the verse progression from earlier, both versions of it, but at half speed. And do you want me? Do you want to let me know that you're okay? your circulation. Yeah. I couldn't let you go. You can do a sort of cool rhythm strumming along with the vocals thing, or you can just sort of end it with this, like sing and do the last, or you can do voice again, or you can do voice again. Either way is fine. Anyway, that's about it. I'm really just, before I go, I want to say, like, I got introduced to Pierce the Veil 3 years ago, a little bit after the release of Collide with the Sky, but well before Misadventures by a friend of mine in Houston, and honestly, their music got me through a really, really difficult place. So, yeah, I was in a bad position. I was in a really awful place, and this friend of mine basically told me that, hey, this music really helped me when I was in a similar place as you. You should listen to them. And this was shortly before I left that town, which sounds so pop punky. Good God, that sounds really pop punkish. But this was shortly before I left that city. This was when I was in Houston, and I think that really saved me. I think Pierce the Veil really saved me in a way, like not like from suicide, not really, but they helped me, give me a bright spot in a time when I was having when my world was really, really dark. So, if any of the guys from Pierce the Veil ever watch this, thank you so much for just being who you are and making the music that you do, because it is absolutely incredible and wonderful. You have a very large number of people who love you for what you do, and I hope you realize just how amazing that is. I mean, I'm pretty sure you do, judging by your behavior on social media and whatnot, but I want you to know that you've saved a lot of people. And to everyone else, if you just happen to stumble upon this, if you're not a Pierce the Veil fan, it's first of all, that's unlikely. But second, I really think that you should at least give their music a listen. It's not for everyone, but it's really powerful for the people that do like it. Thanks for watching. Bye.